who's in front of you. And
Poole takes off, drives, throws it to McGowans, who's going to fake and drive, pulls up from 10, bounces around and in, and the Pelicans have their largest lead of the game of 14 points. 12-2 Pelicans run.
Sorry, too soon? Too soon? That's right, I had to give you a little bit of a highlight there, or a low light. A brutal night for your Trailblazers, to say the absolute least, as they go into New Orleans and injury depleted. You thought they would have a chance, but they made the Pelicans look like an NBA title team, that is for sure. And they drop one, 143-120. Welcome in to the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you would like to join the conversation with us tonight, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to Rip City Radio on the YouTube stream and join the chat there. And last but not least, you can hit us up on the new Rip City Radio text line. Just text 88528. Standard text messaging rates apply. If you're watching on YouTube, you get the behind the scenes of me picking at my eye because I got like a piece of dust in it or something, and it's just like totally throwing me off. Like I can't see out of it. Maybe that's what happened in NOLA. Maybe the offense had a little piece of dust in their eye, a little feather, something blocking their sight, because holy smokes, they couldn't shoot the ball. They couldn't play defense. Everything was just an absolute mess, as we hear Captain's music coming through the stream. Nice Christmas music, by the way, and I do hope everyone's having a very nice holiday season and surviving the rainstorms and the nastiness out there and having some fun, getting out there, getting some shopping done and just enjoying family, right? That's the holiday season, because you got to find your joy somewhere, because it certainly wasn't in watching the Trailblazers tonight. Just a rough game, and I know we're going to talk about it. I get it. I understand that they have injuries. I understand that they only had 7 healthy bodies or something like that. I guess they had a full complement with all those the two-way guys. So they had 15 or 10 guys. But it's just, you go in to take on New Orleans, a New Orleans team that has absolutely struggled this year. A New Orleans team that came into this game 3-22, just 3 wins on the entire season, has absolutely looked abysmal, and you made them look phenomenal. New Orleans came into the game averaging 113 points, which is the 6th fewest in the NBA, I believe, just behind the Golden State Warriors, who are only averaging 113.5, and just ahead of the Wizards, who are averaging 112.4. One of the worst scoring offenses in the league. They score 30 more than their average and absolutely kick you out of their gym. It's a brutal night for the Blazers, and there's no other way of putting it. We can talk about Denny and Jeremy and Shaedon Sharpe and those 3 guys doing everything they can, but they were outperformed today by Sidy Cissoko, who had a pretty good game. Ryan Rupert had a good game. But all things considered, it's like you gotta give me more. I thought this game against New Orleans was a great chance to end the losing woes and go get a victory. And it just wasn't meant to be. The Blazers got down early. The Pelicans jumped out to a 39-30 lead. The Blazers tried to come back in the second quarter, outscored the Pelicans 38-31. But in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, Blazers failed to score 30. The Pelicans surpassed 30 both times, and it was over at that point. Fourth quarter was really the Blazers' undoing. They were outscored 38-23. Points in the paint. We knew this was going to be a thing when the game started, when we got that late scratch about an hour before tip, that there was no Young Hansen, no Robert Williams available. We already knew that Donovan Clingan wasn't going to be available. So there was no defensive presence in the paint. And New Orleans took advantage of that, outscoring the Blazers in the paint 88-62. They had 22 second chance points, did the Pelicans. They also outscored the Trailblazers bench 64-45. So not a banner night for Portland. Largest lead of the night for the Pelicans was 25. The largest lead for the Blazers on the night was just 2. They took their first lead about midway through the second quarter when they took a 57-56 lead. And that lead did not last long. In fact, times leading for the Blazers tonight. Just 3 minutes and 23 seconds of this game did they lead. And their biggest scoring run was 7. Their largest lead was 2 when they led 62-60. Tough night. Tough night. Taking a look at the box score, Trey Murphy had 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for the Pelicans. Sadiq Bey had 15 points. Derek Queen had another good game, 17 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. Jeremiah Fears, 19 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds for the Pelicans. And their final starter, Herb Jones, he had just 4 points, 6 rebounds, and a block shot. 23 points for Trailblazers legend Bryce McGowan's. And Jordan Poole chipped in 22. On the Trailblazers side of things, Jeremy Grant, a rough shooting night. He was 6 of 19 from the floor, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. He had 5 rebounds, an assist, and just 16 points. He was a team worst, minus 32. Tumani Kamara, he had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 points from Chris Murray, who got the start in this one with the Blazers being injury depleted. Denny Avdia, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists as well. 21 points from Shaedon Sharpe on 8 of 14 shooting. So he had a decent night, all things considered. On the bench, Sidi Sissoko had 20 points, which was a great performance from him on 8 of 12 shooting. And Ryan Rupert, fresh off a stint down in the G League, put it together, and he had a very good game. As you will see in our social media posts from Sean Hyken, who does do a recap after every single game. If you haven't followed us already, make sure you're following us on Instagram, X, all that at Rip City Radio 620. But Ryan Rupert had a great game. Probably his best game of the season, if not the best game of his career. 14 points, 6 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. He also had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 9 points from Caleb Love. Dwap Reith scored 2, and in just 3 minutes and 44 seconds of action, Javonte Cook did not score. The Blazers were out rebounded 56-43. That's a rough night. And again, the Pelicans, who come in with one of the worst offenses in the NBA, figured it out tonight, and they shot over 50% from the floor. That will do it, especially when the Blazers struggled from the floor like they always do. Blazers shot 44%. Pelicans shot 51.8%. They also shot 37.5% from beyond the arc, where the Blazers shot just 29% from beyond the arc. And to put that in perspective right now, on the season, the Blazers are second worst in the league when it comes to field goal percentage at just 44.2. Also in the bottom 10, this would be the 22nd best, or 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th worst team is the Pelicans. Pelicans come into the game shooting just 45.8 from the floor. So they shot a better percentage than they're used to. They scored far more than they're used to. Just everything they did in this one was a stellar game from them. Perfect, as you said. If you want to join the conversation, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat there. That's where Brett says, why no bigs tonight? Well, Donovan Klingman was out because he's dealing with a left leg injury. It was that last home game. He came down kind of awkward on a rebound. You saw him limping for a little bit. And he played through it, but he's obviously dealing with that. And then Robert Williams is sick. He missed the last game as well. And then Young Hansen missed the game because of a face contusion, if you remember watching him get hit in the face by Zach Edey in Memphis. So dealing with a few injuries there. There you go. Air Weldon says he was watching live from halftime of a high school game. Tough Blazers game. Did Putnam get the win? I must know. Or I can go to the OSA website and check. That's also part of my job. But Air Weldon's out there watching the high school hoops. So good job, Weldon. And Todd asked, what was that garbage? Well, I just did my best to explain it to you, Todd. And I'm seeing your chat right now. But yeah, it was not good. It wasn't good at all. And that's just all you can say. We've sat here through this entire road trip, respectfully tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, the team ran out of gas. They did this, they did that. And those same things reared their ugly head tonight. The depth issues with all the injuries, I get. Team ran out of gas, I get. So the same things we've talked about every single night happened again tonight. I can look at this lineup and tell you that it is hard to win games when Chris Murray is starting at center for you, when you're playing Sidi Sissoko 32 minutes, when you're playing Ryan Rupert and Caleb Love 20 minutes. And that's not even trying to be disrespectful to those guys, but on a full healthy roster, City Sissoko's probably not playing. Chris Murray's probably not playing. Ryan Repair's not playing. Caleb Love's not playing. Javonte Cook's not playing. Dwap Reith is probably not playing. And those guys are getting huge minutes in this game tonight. So that's part of it. But at the same time, we're talking about a Pelicans team that came into this game winners of 3 games. Not 3 games in a row, not 3 games in the last week, 3 games the entire season. Statistically, when you look at it, one of, if not the worst team in the NBA. And I would hope that Denny and Jeremy and Shea, being the core 3 that they've been throughout this stretch of games with everyone out, who have put together good games, would go win this game. And when they don't, it's frustrating. Because, okay, they don't have Young Hansen tonight. They don't have a Robert Williams. And that is not the difference between a good game and a bad game. The games over the last few stretches, right, where you lose to Detroit. And in games you could have won. You lost to Toronto in games you could have won. Memphis got yourself into a big hole early, tried to call back, you were too late. And in this one, it's just the effort. The effort wasn't there. And that's frustrating because that hasn't happened very many times this year. And it happened tonight as the Blazers fall 143-120 to the Pelicans. And that's just about the best thing you can say. Try not to beat this team up too bad. Because, again, I understand that the injury bug will absolutely hurt you. But also, I think you could go into this game and win it. You could have beat this team. The Pelicans are bad. They look like an NBA championship tonight. NBA championship team, that is. 143 points. You got to do better than that. And as Brett says, oops, all wings. Yes, oops, all wings. Also, shout out to Oops All Berries, which I bought for like the first time for my kids the other day. They liked it. Go Captain Crunch. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the 5th quarter. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our drive of the night, shout of the night. We also have Coach's Corner to get to still, and we'll hand out a game ball. Even despite through all this, there is one positive, and he'll get a game ball for his performance tonight. I'll let you know here when we return on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
to Denny. Ball fake and a drive. Pump fake. Goes out to Sissoko. Attacks to the rim and hammers it down. Right down Bourbon Street with the one-hand slam. Sissoko now with 15 points, matches a career high.
And Sissoko would later go on to score 20 on the night, a new career high for the Trailblazers. Kind of Swiss Army knife. I know he played point guard tonight, but he definitely can play it all. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you'd like to join the conversation with us tonight, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on the new Rip City Radio text line. Just text 88528 or head over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio and join the chat there, where Brett has been chiming in during the break, made a couple comments and said that, it's hard to push any chips in with OKC looking so dominant for the foreseeable future. And that's pretty true. But at some point, I would think that there's going to be a lot of guys who want to get paid and maybe they start moving around. Of course, maybe you get in on some different things because they have draft picks that are going to be pretty nice at some point. So we'll see what OKC does in the long term to continue to build that thing and keep it steady. But you're right. I mean, they are the dominant team right now. They look unbeatable. They look like the favorite to go in and win another championship. And they're going to be the enemy of the state here. Everyone's going to be after them. But you still want to put your best foot forward. Like, you still want to become a winning team, right, Brett? You want to make sure that you are a product that people want to fill your arena for. And tonight, it was a hard pill to swallow. Blazers didn't look good, didn't play good, just looked just not outclassed, but just outplayed by the Pelicans from start to finish. And I get it. If you listen to the post-game show with Travis Demers talking about, they've only had a handful of home games since November 5th. They've been on the road, and they need to get back home as soon as possible. And they're going to get that home cooking, and things will get better. But they got to get healthy first and foremost. And then you got to work the trade markets and see, how you can make this team better, because right now it just ain't it. Now, if you have Donovan Clingan and Drew Holiday and Matisse Thybulle, then yeah, your defense is better. Your defense is better. But you still need to have guys who can shoot the ball. You still need to have guys who can score. All I know is the way they were playing for the first 2 weeks of the year is gone. It is gone. Part of that is injuries. Part of that is just, I think, the top guys right now getting tired. Denny has looked incredible all year long, but he's only one man. He's not putting this entire team on his back for 48 minutes every single night, because it just can't be done. You're going to run out of gas. And when I talk about this schedule, though, getting easier, you could take a look at it. They got Golden State coming up on Sunday, so another few-day break before their next game. That's at home. And then they have Sacramento, who is one of the worst teams in the Western Conference right now. They're 6-18 heading into tonight. So, there's a team that you would hope that you can beat. Maybe you get a little more health on your side. Then you go on the road at Sacramento. It's that back-to-back, one at home, one away. Easy trip to get down to Sac. But after that, it's home against Detroit, home against Orlando, home against LA, home against Boston, home against Dallas. Games that should be competitive, games like Detroit and Boston, obviously. But that Dallas game is one that hopefully you get a little bit of revenge and you can win. That game against Orlando is a game hopefully you can get a little bit of revenge, get that win back. They are fourth in the East right now, but they're beatable. And obviously, you look at that game against the Clippers, and the Clippers are a team that right now is playing terrible basketball. The second worst team in the Western Conference. They are 6-19 overall, 2-8 in their last 10. But at the exact same time, that was the Pelicans. Pelicans came into the night 3-22, like 1-9 in their last 10, and they got a win over the Blazers. So you got to get right, because you have a stretch of games that are winnable, but if you don't take advantage of it, that's a bad thing. That is a bad thing. Blazers now tied with Dallas, 15 games back. And so you win that game against Dallas, that helps you, but you're starting to lose ground a little bit when it comes to that play-in, and you want to stay firmly entrenched in there. I will say, no excuse, but again, the schedule gets infinitely easier moving forward as compared to what it's been over the last 2 months. That's going to help, and you would hope that you get Drew Holiday back soon. He was originally supposed to be out 1 to 2 weeks. It's been 3. They're taking their time, get back. Yeah, you need Scoot Henderson back. He has missed half the season, and the more games he misses, the worse it is when it comes to making sure he's in a groove and ready to go and making those jumps that you want him to make. And then, of course, Matisse Thybulle and Blake Wesley, you get those guys back. It incredibly helps your defense that has been taking a massive hit. And when you don't have Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams, you have no defensive paint presence. And that's why the Pelicans are able to go in there and outscore you in the paint tonight, 88-62. They dominated and did most of their work inside the painted area because he had no one to stop them. No one to stop them. So there is a lot that you can look at this game and understand why they lost. It doesn't mean you have to swallow it and go, oh, okay, that makes me feel better, because no, it still is an awful feeling. You want to play better than that. But the Blazers did not look good tonight as they fall to the Pelicans 143 to 120. It's brutal. It's brutal. Brett says, tonight was the beginning of the downhill trajectory. Hardest schedule to this point, easiest henceforth. So yes, all signs point to yes. Dame will put butts in seats next year. Then the clock ticks. And I think next year, no one wants to hear it, but next year is where this focus has been for a minute. This year was really about making the next step, getting into the play-in, which is obviously still within reach because the reasons, as I just mentioned. But it's also about realizing exactly what you need moving forward. And it's been very, very clear through this season that what this team needs to hit most on when it comes to either the trade market or free agency next year is shooters. Very, very clear that they need shooters. Someone that can sit in the corner and their job is to shoot. Remember when you had James Jones here for like a year and that was his job? You're just going to be a shooter. Sit in the corner, shoot the ball, and shoot it well. You need a guy on this team whose job is to go hit 40% from deep. That's all he's doing. A vet like like Kyle Korver was for a minute there. Like, yep, hey, we know you're not what you used to. Your job is to go in and hit shots. As Mike Miller went late in his career, still a good shooter. Your job is to come in and hit open shots. That's all we want you to do. I don't need you to be a world beater defensively. I don't need you to lead my team in scoring every night. I just need you to hit open shots, because that is one thing that this Blazer team does not do right now, as evident by the fact that they are second worst in the league field goal percentage, 44.2. The only team worse than them, the Indiana Pacers, at 43.4. The Blazers also dead last in three-point percentage at 33%. And that's for a team that takes the fourth most in the league. They take the fourth most three-pointers in the league. And they don't even crack the top 10 in makes, because they are the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA at 33%. Milwaukee, number one, at 40%. So you don't need the whole team to go out there and shoot 40%. Milwaukee's at 40, Houston's at 39, Denver's at 39, Minnesota's at 38. And that's good. It'd be nice if you were shooting like that, but you don't need the whole team to do that. You just need a player or two to go do that. You need someone that you can rely upon to just hit open shots. Very, very clear that is what this team needs when it comes to addressing needs this offseason or at this trade deadline. I still think you look at this team healthy. Yeah, I mean, do they keep Drew and Matisse? Like, defense is there. That's for sure. Donovan Clingan is going to be fine as a center. Robert Williams, whatever you decide, but they just do not have shooters. Plain and simple. And that is, as Brett says, certainly don't read much into the stat sheet and depleted nights like this. But yes, shooting. Who's the kid on the remix that can sink him? Maybe cut Love and bring him in. And Love is he loves to shoot. That doesn't make him a good shooter. He just loves to shoot. So that's what they need. Todd says they had shooter. They just traded them. Well, you have to make certain trades to build out your roster. And now they're in a good spot defensively, Todd. When healthy. Big bad quotes. When healthy. That's the bad part. But now they just need to get that back in. So work around the edges, get those guys in. Gosh, it'd be nice to have a Seth Curry back. A guy like that. Just sit there. That's all I need to do. 40% from deep. Hit him, baby. Shoot him. Like, I don't need Donovan Clingan taking a bunch of threes per game. I need guys who can shoot it and shoot it well. I think you do that and space the floor a little bit, you're better. And even on a night like tonight, if you just had guys who could shoot the ball, it'd help you a little bit, especially when you get into a point where you need to make a run. I'm not asking you to go score 50, but if you shoot, you score 15 for me on, what? You go out there and you're just sitting in the corner, you're hitting your threes, and you're 5 of 6 from deep at the end of the night. I'll take that. Like 5 of 8, sweet. We're good. We're hitting shots. That's what we need. Who's out there to get? That's the issue. And Todd, that is always the issue, my man. Who is out there to get? Again, we'll see what happens in free agency, trade deadline, because there's a lot of shooters in this league. A lot of good shooters. Just not a lot of them residing on the Trailblazers bench at this point. I don't know what Joe's thinking, but it doesn't change the fact that that's definitely what they need. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, it's time for the Coach's Corner. Hear what Coach Thiago Splitter had to say. We'll hand out a game ball and we'll get out of here because I think a lot of us Rip City fans, everyone just wants to go lay their head on their pillow and wake up and imagine that this day didn't exist. But before we go, I apologize in advance. It's time for our shot of the night.
Poole takes off, drives, throws it to McGowens, who's going to fake and drive, pulls up from 10, bounces around and in, and the Pelicans have their largest lead of the game of 14 points. 12-2 Pelicans run.
who's in front of you and just focus, can relax.
CD with a career high. What did you think of his performance tonight?
Yeah, I think CD and Rubes really played well. I think that was the positive of the night. They really try, shot the ball well, defend well. Yeah, but just not enough.
I know this was a one-off game, but really coming on the tail end of that other long road trip, how nice will it be to be home for a while, playing in front of your hometown crowd?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to go home, stay, work in our practice facility, get together, watch film, hopefully get healthy, and go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Time now to hand out a game ball, and I'm going to hand that one out tonight to Ryan Rupert. I thought he looked good. Probably the best game of his career, quite honestly. 6 of 10 from the floor, 14 points. He had 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and did everything he could in this one to get it going for the team. They just didn't have it on the defensive side, especially. Could not stop the New Orleans Pelicans, a team that has struggled to score the ball this year, except tonight against the Trailblazers. Nasty work. Nasty work. 143 points for a team that averages 113. That's not great. That's not great. And it was a game that I really thought the Blazers could have won, even though they're injury depleted. And I think if they would have won this one injury depleted, then it would have been like, okay, that's good. That is good. We can put this in this feather in our cap. Look what we did. But then you get the opposite side of that. It just didn't feel like the effort was there. Felt like a team that was ready to be home. Felt like a team that was spent a week on the road for 4 games. Came back for practice. They were back in Portland, and then they flew back out to NOLA. So they didn't stay out on the road. They came back after the game in Memphis. It felt like a team that didn't want to go back on the road. They would have preferred to stay at home. They would have preferred to stay at home. And I don't blame them. Getting on the road is annoying. And sometimes you just need that home cooking. You need to put your bed on your own pillow. You don't need to put it on the hotel pillow. It's just not the same. Hopefully being at home for the next few games, like what did Travis say? Like 9 of the next 10 are at home or something like that. Like, hopefully that will be the what the doctor ordered, is they need something to get right. And as we've talked about during the show, the schedule gets easier. The schedule does pan out for them in a way that there's going to be wins on the horizon, at least you would hope. Golden State on Sunday, Sacramento 2 games in a row, Detroit, Orlando, LA, Boston, winnable games in there, and Dallas. Then you go back on the road, Oklahoma City. We know how that one goes. At New Orleans again on January 2nd. January 3rd, you're at San Antonio. Then you're back home, Utah, Houston, New York. At Golden State, home against Atlanta and Los Angeles. And as you go down the schedule, too, you still got 2 games against the Pacers, 2 games against the Brooklyn Nets. You got games against Washington and Charlotte, who those teams that I just mentioned, those are the 4 worst teams in the Eastern Conference. And you haven't played them yet. Got the 2 games against Sacramento, who is worse than you in the standings. That's good. You got a game against Utah, who's worse than you in the standings. That's good. Game against LA, who's worse than you in the standings. That's good. A game against New Orleans, a team that's worse than you in the standings. That's good. You would hope that you could win those games, except that was the case tonight. So nothing is given. You got to get out there and you got to work. You have to be ready to go. You have to be ready to go. Speaking of going, I think it's time for us to go. I think that's going to do it for the 5th quarter. I just wish they would have played better. They would have took the loss, but it was a close game. I would have understood it. I guess I know they're injury depleted. I just wanted them to play better. Next time someone asks me, Chris, what do you want for Christmas? I want I want the Blazers to play better. I want the Blazers to play better, Santa. That's all I want for Christmas. Can you help me? Put it under the tree. What do you want under the tree? I want someone who knows how to shoot a basketball. Address it. Don't address it to me as Santa. Address it to Rip City. That's what we want for Christmas. Effort. And a better basketball shooter. Blazers will be back in action on Sunday as they return home to the friendly confines of Moda Center to take on the Golden State Warriors. Tip-off is at 6 p.m., which means I will have game day for you starting at 4. Once again, final score from the best food city in the NBA, New Orleans, Louisiana. The Pelicans 143, your Trailblazers 120. Until next time, Rip City, we'll talk to you soon. All right. There you go. All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. Are you with me Sunday or no? Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. I'll talk to you soon.